You know that feeling, right? You're walking alone, you hear a little noise, and suddenly your heart is pounding. Why? What is it about that tiny moment that just sends a chill right down your spine? Well, today we're going to find out. We are pulling back the curtain and taking apart the machinery of fear to see what really makes these modern horror stories tick.
Think about it. What are the scary stories that have really, truly stuck with you? The ones that maybe made you check behind the shower curtain for a week. I bet it wasn't just a loud noise or a cheap jump scare. No. The best ones, the ones that get under our skin, they follow a kind of formula. They take the world we know, our everyday lives, and just twist it into something terrifying. So how do they pull it off? We're going to break down the blueprint for terror into 5 key parts, using some incredible examples from modern Hindi horror. We'll start in a place that feels totally normal, then we'll meet a monster who doesn't look like one at all, we'll see that horrifying moment when the mask comes off, and then dive into the absolutely inescapable fates of the poor people caught in the trap. And to wrap it all up, we'll try to answer the big question: why do we actually enjoy being scared so much? All right, first up, the ordinary world. See, every truly great horror story has to start somewhere you recognize: an office, a gym, a lonely road you might have driven on yourself. Before you can have the supernatural, you gotta have the natural. The story has to ground you in reality before it completely shatters it. So, let's meet our protagonists. First, we have Ritika. She's an IT pro, and she's just had one of those days. You know the one. You're exhausted, the boss has been a nightmare, and all you want is to get home. So she takes a shortcut. It's a simple, logical choice. A choice any of us might make to save a few minutes. But in horror, there's no such thing as a small decision. Then, let's look at Shefali. She's a top model, literally at the top of her game. Her world is her gym, her career. But then a new rival shows up. And suddenly, the fear isn't about some ghost. It's about something way more real. It's that fear of being replaced, of becoming yesterday's news. That's a kind of horror that can grow in the most normal places. Now, for something a little different, meet Max and his crew. These guys aren't your average victims running from a monster. No, they're ghost hunters. They're actually looking for trouble. Their first big international gig takes them to the infamous Doll Island in Mexico. They aren't trying to escape the darkness. They're trying to capture it on camera. And finally, we have Viba. Viba is a skeptic. She thinks ghost stories are just that, stories. She's a practical, no-nonsense person driving the Mumbai-Pune highway after a meeting. For her, the world operates on logic. But what happens when you're confronted with something that logic just can't explain? She's about to find out. Okay, so the stage is set. We've got our everyday people. Now, it's time for the monster to arrive. But here's the thing about modern horror. The monster doesn't show up with horns and a pitchfork. It shows up with a smile. It comes disguised as a friend, a helper, maybe even a soulmate. It shows up looking like the answer to your prayers.
And this is how the trap is sprung. For Ritika, the monster isn't some creature lurking in the woods, it's Bottle, a ridiculously handsome guy who offers her a ride. For Max and his team, the evil on the island isn't some creepy groundskeeper, it's Alina, their beautiful and super helpful tour guide. And for Shefali, her rival Radhika isn't just some new model. She's supportive, she's friendly. See? The most dangerous monsters are always the ones we let in the front door.
Just listen to this line from Badal to Ritika. He's not just a stranger, he's a secret admirer, a protector who's been watching over her. He's building instant trust, instant intimacy. It's so clever and so predatory. He's making her feel completely safe, which is, of course, when she's in the most danger. And this is the moment. It's the tipping point of any great horror story. It's when the mask finally drops. The charming smile twists into a snarl. The helping hand reveals its claws. This is the exact second that our hero's world doesn't just crack, it shatters into a million pieces. For Ritika, this happens deep in the jungle. The man she was starting to fall for, her knight in shining armor, just changes. His eyes start to glow a terrifying red. That handsome stranger is gone. In his place is a monster. Her fairy tale just turned into a nightmare in the blink of an eye. Shefali's reveal is just so perfectly twisted. That beautiful, friendly face of her rival Radhika literally melts away, and underneath is the face of Charlotta, the very woman Shefali murdered to get to the top. The monster isn't just some random spirit, it's her own guilt, her own past come back to life to haunt her. And for Viba, our skeptic, her reveal is a total assault on reality itself. That frail, sweet old woman she offered a ride to suddenly transforms into this hideous witch, blood dripping from her eyes. In that single moment, everything Vibha believed about the world, about logic, is completely destroyed. And the monster, it's sitting right next to her.
So the monster is out. What now? Well, in a lot of older stories, this is where our hero fights back and makes a narrow escape. But not here. In these modern tales, there is no escape. There's no final girl riding off into the sunrise. There's only a dark, awful transformation. You don't just lose to the monster, you become the monster.
Take Ritika's story. It's this heartbreaking journey straight to hell. She falls so hard for Badal's act that she agrees to perform a dark ritual, thinking she's saving him. But the whole thing is a lie. The ritual isn't meant to save him, it's meant to turn her. She doesn't become his savior, she becomes his prisoner, another monster for all eternity.
And just look at the cruel, poetic irony of their fates. Max, the ghost hunter who loved his creepy dolls, literally becomes one. Shefali, the model obsessed with her own beauty, is cursed to be ugly forever. And Ritika, who just wanted to find love, becomes an immortal predator who can never know it. Their endings aren't just tragic, they are the perfect, dark reflection of their deepest desires.
So we've deconstructed the whole thing. We've looked at all the pieces. But the biggest question is still there. Why does this work on us? Why are we so fascinated by these stories? I think the answer is that these stories, they aren't really about vampires and ghosts. They're about us. They're about our own modern anxieties.
So there you have it, the recipe for a modern scare. You start in an everyday setting, you bring in a threat disguised as a friend or a lover, you tap into very real anxieties, loneliness, career pressure, the fear of trusting the wrong person. Then you hit them with a jaw-dropping twist, and finally, you don't give them an escape. You give them a horrifying, unforgettable fate. It's a formula that gets under our skin because it's not about monsters in the closet, it's about the darkness we face every day.
And that leaves us with one last, really chilling thought to chew on. In all these stories, the monster isn't just some random evil. It's someone our heroes chose to trust, someone they invited into their car, their home, their heart. So if the monster is someone we willingly let into our lives, what does that say about what we're truly afraid of? Maybe the real horror isn't what's hiding in the dark, but the possibility that the person right next to us is the real monster.